In this video, we're going to break down the top 5 legends that you need to avoid in Season 18 of Ranked Play. My last video on the channel was top 5 legends to play in order to rank up fast due to their efficiency and effectiveness of their kit. If you haven't watched that video, I would highly suggest you go watch it, but this video is going to be the exact inverse of that. We're going to be talking about the 5 legends due to nerfs or lack of buffs or just simply meta changes that you need to avoid, because if you don't, it's going to be making your time ranking up much harder than it needs to be. All that being said, before we hop into the list, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy the content and want to see more content in the future. It helps me out a ton. Besides, who else do you see moving like this on controller anyways?
I just jumped off the map.
All jokes aside though, let's go ahead and hop into this list. Number 5 on this list is actually going to be Seer. For some people this may seem like a big surprise, for other people's it may seem to be expected, but let me explain. First of all, we're heading further and further away from a scan meta, so to not have a scan legend on your team is not going to put you at a disadvantage. And actually, to play without a scan legend with other abilities that are going to do a lot more to win fights, you're actually going to be at an advantage over a lot of teams with scan legends, as long as you're able to avoid giving them value. But when it comes to Seer specifically, his tactical just got nerfed into the ground. It's ridiculously easy to avoid, and even if you don't avoid it, it lasts 2/3 of the time it did, and the stun is 1/4 of what it used to be. So the stun is almost irrelevant, and the 8-second cooldown is not that big of a deal unless you're in a very specific circumstance. So all that being said, I think there's just lots of other better legends out there, not even just in the scan arena, because again, the scan meta is falling further and further away. You can get a lot more value out of lots of other legends all over the board that Seer's just not going to give you anymore. Granted, his ultimate is still good, his passive is still great for giving you information, but again, in this meta where you're not going to be fighting a ton throughout the game, you're just going to be fighting a lot in the middle game and in games when you already know where people are. A scan meta is further and further out of reach, which I'm very thankful for, and puts Seer at number 5 on this list. Coming in at 4 is going to be Valkyrie. Now, in a vacuum, Valkyrie may not seem like a terrible legend, but because of the introduction of evac towers, her ultimate has basically become useless in most situations. And I would actually argue that consumables should not mimic what legend abilities, especially what legend ultimates do, because it makes their abilities, makes that legend obsolete. And Valkyrie is a perfect example of that. That's not the only problem with Valkyrie. Not only is her ultimate pretty useless, her tactical is one of the worst in the game. I can't tell you the last time I saw a Valk tactical and was scared in any way for my life. It does hardly any damage. You can barely ever tell the effects of it, and most of the time you can be standing right in where it's supposed to be landing and it might not even hit you. Granted, her passive is pretty good for gaining high ground and for micro adjustments and micro rotations and things like that, but with her tactical being as bad as it is, her ultimate being replaced by a consumable that anybody on your team can hold, she's just not a legend you want to be playing, because you can get what she's going to give you in other ways while having different legends that are going to do a lot more for the team. Coming in at number 3 is going to be Ballistic. Now hear me out before you get mad at this pick. In a vacuum and on paper, Ballistic doesn't look like he should belong on this list. His passive is very convenient. His tactical can be very good when used well and in an aggressive manner if you capitalize on it. And his ultimate gives you pretty good value and is convenient as well. But the problem is you can't view Apex in a vacuum. While having a third weapon is nice, that when you use your ult becomes gold, while having a little faster movement speed and weapon swap and reload speed while you're in your ult is cool, while having a tactical that you can keep an enemy from shooting a whole mag at you at one time is cool. What I found is with the tactical, a lot of times if someone's hit by it, they can find some way to stall, or their team can help them stall until that 8-second cooldown runs out. With his passive and ultimate specifically, while these are convenient abilities, they just don't have enough sway in a fight to merit playing Ballistic. For example, if I'm using Ballistic, it may feel like my faster reload speed is doing a lot for me, But anytime I play against a ballistic, when I see the blue electricity shocking around him and his teammates, it just kind of makes me laugh because I can't tell that they're getting faster reload speed. I'm not dying any faster than I would if they didn't have that ult popped. And if they were on a different legend like Horizon or Gibby or Bangalore or Newcastle or literally almost anyone else, that ult is going to get so much more value than ballistics and have so much sway over a fight. So again, in a vacuum, ballistic doesn't seem like a bad legend. On paper, he seems like he should be pretty good. But because of the strength of all the other legends in the game, having an ultimate that gives you faster reload speeds and better attachments on a gun honestly seems like a joke and plants him at number 3 on this list. Coming in at number 2 is going to be Ashe. Now, it kind of hurts me to put her on this list because I used to main Ashe. I loved playing Ashe. I thought she was a lot of fun, but she is just not very good in this current meta. And even though she's a newer-ish legend, her kit just seems outdated. There's a lot of legends that do what she does, but a lot better. Her passive can be convenient if you're kill chasing, but in ranked play, that's pretty irrelevant this season considering the way the system works. You want to be fighting for top 10 before you're even considering pushing lots of teams. But more than that, her tactical is very underwhelming. The enemy team is able to avoid it almost any time she uses it. If they get hit by it, they can still fight. They can still play behind cover. The only time it's useful is if you're chasing someone, they're chasing you, or you have a perfect nade that you have planted on them, and that snare is going to keep them in the path of it. But other than that, her tactical is just not that good. And again, while her ultimate can be pretty good for some decently sized rotations, or to get out of a fight, or to get an off angle and make a push, it just doesn't merit you playing her considering there's so many other legends that can do that so much more effectively, which is why she sits at number 2 on this list. Coming in at number 1 on this list should be no surprise to anyone. It's going to be Octane. Especially with Revenant Reborn happening this season, Revenant is just a better Octane who gets Octane's ultimate as his tactical, has a more unique passive, and gets an infinitely better ultimate. If we think about Octane in a vacuum for just a moment, he's just very outdated. His passive is pretty decent, I can't lie. He is able to regen health, but he regens it so slowly. And lots of times you're not going to see any huge effect out of it apart from not needing to carry as many syringes around with you. But looking at his tactical, his stem, again, it's pretty good for yourself, but your teammates get no benefit from it. And the only time it's really going to help you is to loot faster, or maybe in a 50-50 gunfight to avoid bullets and get a kill. But if you're in more than a 1v1 at the end of a team fight, that's actually going to hinder you more than it's going to help you, because regardless of your speed, your shields are probably going to get knocked off, and you've already knocked yourself of, I think, 20 health in the fight, the remainder of the fight. So it just makes it not as great to play. And then his ultimate is a terrible ultimate for rotations or for pushing, considering anyone can hear it, and you're not going to get very far with it. It's a very micro rotational ultimate, and micro rotational ultimates are just not very good in this game, considering there's so many more that can get you so much further, and consumables that can get you so much further. So for all of those reasons, Octane is the number 1 legend you should avoid playing in ranked play this season. So that's going to do it for my top 5 legends to avoid in Season 18 of ranked play. I know you may think I left someone off this list who deserved to be on it. That's why it's my list and not yours. On a serious note though, if you think I missed anyone, or you think I'm wrong about anyone on this list, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to discuss it, and I'm definitely not naive enough to think that I'm 100% right all the time. But if you like the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to see more Apex content in the future, let me know in the comments below. I'm thinking about doing some coaching videos, some guide videos, some live comp videos, lots of different things running through my mind. So just let me know what you want to see in the future, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.